Welcome back to Gen Wars, the combative and not so combative and more agreeable podcast sometimes between the Gen Xers and the just Millennials this time. We're going to be delving into the X-Men 97 episode 3 today. We're a little more timely on this one instead of being way behind the eight ball. So let's head into it. But Steven, hit him with the plugs.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Nick does a lot of great work here on the channel. Fire Hazard 508 Creations, making playthings into display things. So you want to check that out whenever he uploads new stuff. So you got to make sure you ring that bell too. You can also subscribe to my channel, Funky Games. We play a lot of video game content over there, old and new. We're big into playing the quintessential video games, the ones that are like the must play of all of video game history. So you can check that out. And you can check out the store, funky.store. It helps both of our channels when you pick up some merch, the big swag. You can get use your De Niro to pick up a De Niro shirt. It comes in a nice scuba blue. And there's some other options on there. So everything that makes your nostalgia go burr. So check that out at funky.store. So speaking of nostalgia, we are kind of reviewing each episode under these categories. And Nick put them on screen. Wow, it's so great. Nostalgia, any kind of bias we have, just being fans of the IP, going into production value of any given episode, the spirit, the emotion, the intent of that episode, how well it achieves that. Rewatchability, is it a banger episode that, man, I gotta rewatch that and see what I missed. And then just kind of overall thoughts. So those are the categories that we kind of run through when we're doing any kind of review of any of the content here on Gen Wars. So starting off with nostalgia. Nick, this episode, kind of hit different, didn't it?
It really did. It was. They went. Oh wait! First, spoiler warning.
Watch the episode.
Watch the episode. Get over there and watch the episode. Then come back before we touch anything. We're gonna talk about some stuff. So that being said, yes, this episode hit different. It was much like a horror movie. They went to some places that it's not where you expect your X-Men to go, at least maybe in the comic book but in this animated format, man, it went to some places, some creepy places.
Yeah, I think it definitely took the next couple steps in storytelling and how far they're willing to go with the narrative compared to what was deemed 90s kids television back in the day. So a lot.
Oh yeah.
lot better presentation on some of the key themes, and they're pulling a lot from Uncanny, which I think is the right call. And they're definitely there's no question for me that they're setting up for a New Mutants run. I think we've touched on that prior. So for sure. Nostalgia for the New Mutants and what they can do. They're ringing your bell real hard coming up here. I think they're just we already brought back Sunspot.
Yep.
So he's already a little bit more featured than maybe we kind of thought was going to happen with how the episodes went. And then bringing up Sinister. I call it the cyber sickness. It's called something else. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know what it's called.
But the whole reason that Bishop and Cable are trying to fix the past, bringing that into more of a immediate, it's already starting to affect the present. I really like that.
Yeah. No, it definitely took its toll on a couple characters, including big time Cyclops in this one. This episode felt, I don't want to say that the other ones haven't felt like a comic book, but this felt like I just went to the store, walked over to the shelf, saw the new book, and I was like, ooh, flipped through the pages and ran up to the register and immediately bought it and ran home to my room and sat and read every page, at every panel. And dissected it. I've watched it through twice already. That's how good this one was.
Absolute banger. Going into a little bit of the plot, I was right, and it's documented that I was right. Nick led me a little bit of astray, saying that there was twins. But yes,
yeah,
the Sinister clone,
different Earth, different kind of situation. Yes, so yes. That you're right. We were leading into the more uncanny version with Cable and everything. So yeah, you were pretty spot on there.
glorious. Put me in the writer's room.
All
I'll rack them up.
Put you in the writer's room.
But it again is going into like they're leveraging, like, this is what Star Wars should have been doing, is leveraging like what IPs are out there already and just putting it in like with the Disney budget behind it. So like great use of already laid down paths for these characters to take. And I think they resolved it in a way they could have dragged it out. So I really like that. Like we're getting a 8-10 episode run. They're going to move this story along. They're going to give these characters the necessary arcs that they need to be entertaining and thrilling. Like we solved, they could have like, which one's the real one? Like they still have some more like feelings to process between Jean Grey life and Madeline Pryor life. But they kind of like more or less like set the stage for that to be like the next little hurdle for the team to tackle. Rather than stringing those two characters along. Like they could have like done like, oh, we gotta do like a 3-episode arc where we gotta defeat the Goblin Queen and like all that she brings, and like nope, it's just like it was resolved that quickly. I was like, nice, that is good for my like saying that they have a lot of story to tell here.
I mean, even where we left off on that. Well, I wrote awkward note. We're just like, Jean walks in, Scott's like dejected, got his picture of Madeline in his, well, I guess Jean at that time in his hand, and he's like, you're like, oh, this is gonna get weird.
Yep.
But that was my thought after,
like
actually home wrecked, and their home is wrecked on top of all that. My initial thoughts were they're moving through these stories quick, and I'm like, do I like that? And I stopped and sat with it for a minute. But realizing that, yes, we only have 10 episodes. They are able to give you that comic book feel where you get that beginning, the start and the end. We encapsulate everything in this one nice package. They have an extra, 7 minutes to work with. It's not a 22, 23 minute episode where you have those commercial breaks. So you got that extra 7 minutes of padding, or not padding, but just of story you can jam in there, fight scenes, whatever that is. The chat we had right after it, you were like, wow, they threw some money behind this one. Like they put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, we can move on into the next category of production.
I was gonna say, that's going to go into production value.
right into it. Like we got.
It's like I know how to segue or something.
Yeah, wow, riding it right through, Paul Barton style. Yeah, no, I really don't have any criticisms as far as like some gooby like frames that we had maybe with like the first one, or like everything looked really styled. Like the camera angle choices were really good. Nothing like really was hokey from what I saw. Like, yeah, probably if I watched it a couple of times, I would like maybe find some select scenes that are like, oh, but to me, it felt like beginning to end, full run time was just the A team was on it, and it looked great.
For sure. My criticism of the last time where we had those like the lesser frames, the lesser animation frames, I did. If I saw it, it was quick and out the door. Almost every frame of this was fantastic. It just had hit on all those levels that I wanted it to.
No, I think it was great beginning to end. I think if that's the quality going forward, dang, that's great. I feel like maybe there might be some lesser stories, but like this is a really important part of what I'm assuming is the story that they're going to tell, and it hit the absolute home run. I don't want to say that I'm not softballing it by any means, but I just really don't have any crits to give as far as how much better it is than the first 2 episodes.
No, I think it just the first 2 really teed this one up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we had the Nathan being born, or we're getting to that point, and we're kind of in that everything's okay. We managed through the first boss, the first bad guy.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, everything's good, and then we just smashed down with Sinister and threw everything into chaos.
Yep.
And they threw the chaos with like I said, they made it into a horror movie where every person's getting attacked by something that they fear or something that is, you know, present in there. Like with the Morph and Wolverine, I was like, oh no, poor Morph's gonna get ganked again.
Yeah.
He's gonna get really gooped
Morph trauma
the second time around.
Going into, I don't think we have anything more to cover in like production value or anything, but going into like the spirit of like the episode or like the vibe or what they were going for with this episode's intent. The fast pace really lends itself to the decision making that the characters had to make. Like you have to make this decision to basically yeet your baby into the future to hope that it lives. And I think that's
there was no time.
There was no time to do that after your child was kidnapped by an insane clone. Like just that situation moving so fast and like the decisions, like, oh my God. I thought it was really impactful and beautiful and really like hit the emotional beats that it was intending to hit. So lots of kudos on that.
Both of our notes were like, oh no, the baby. Get that baby.
Yeah, get that baby. Save that baby. Save the child. Save the children. Also, I thought it was super funny that Magneto and Rogue were basically doing God knows what in the danger room for the whole episode. They're like, oh man. What we miss?
And then Morph just sitting there hitting the button is like, they have it scheduled every day. And Gambit's like, I have it. I'm just playing it in the background right now for myself. And it just showed up to that scene.
Yes, perfect. Also, Wolverine getting double wrecked with like, just focus on me, look at my face and read my mind and how I feel. And she's like, Scott, the baby. Like,
yeah, he was like, yes, me, right? And she's like, nope, gotta go help them.
Oh, I loved that. Yeah. That was great. It's like, dude, that's
definitely gonna bring back that awkward triangle again. So we have now two triangles going on simultaneously.
Yeah. But also
Rogue and Magneto and Gambit.
When Magneto did show up, him just be like snapping into like, oh, like we have to like solve this. And because like he's led teams before, but this is a new team by all means. Like most of the missions he was running solo anyway. Presumably this is happening pretty quickly within a time frame. So he was just like, you do this, handle that, like get this solved, and
he was ready to beat some ass.
Right. Yeah.
he was ready. And then got his ass beat. I really appreciated that scene specifically in the church that she had kind of manifested.
Well, that was sinister. That was sinister. They knew. Well, that's my big question is like, were they aware that he was just in there cooking? Because Morph's like, yeah, I know where it is. Like, we could go there.
Oh, I guess they did go to that place. Yeah.
Because that was, like, Sinister's lab. So that's where I'm just like, wow, they were just literally aware of that.
They did, they moved on from, okay.
Because I don't think they ever addressed, like, oh, yeah, he's been vanquished or sent to the Shadow Realm or whatever. They're just going to leave that, like, very big looming threat to just do what he did. Like, that's a big question mark for me. Unless, like, they just literally never asked Morph, or Morph was never compelled to like be like, yo, like we should address that.
Well, I mean, every time he's on screen, he's making some sort of joke or thing, or transforming into somebody.
Claw to everybody.
When he transformed into Strikers, what was her name? The lady with all the arms.
Oh yeah, I wasn't aware of that character, to be honest. He did transform into like that two forms of the other New Mutant again, just like basically assuring like the New Mutants are coming.
Magic, I believe that's Colossus's sister.
And Magic's going to be in that Overwatch clone of that Marvel's making. So like again,
Spiral. That's the character that Morph turned into. But yeah, we should play that. We should play that Overwatch thing. But Magic turned into Magic and then did the thing that which I started diving into a little bit with Morph and his power situation, that he can impersonate powers or the power level, but he does not get their powers.
Right.
but yeah, everyone was questioning the whole sword thing.
Okay, cool.
Now
Yeah.
Mystique can turn her body into weaponry.
Uh-huh.
Like I saw some panels where she like she turned her fist into like a mace, and then her hand into like some sort of claw that she can use to attack. But even if they do, they are not to the power level that
Right.
would be if it was something like that. So yeah, that was a lot of people had that same question. Was like, how do you get swords? Where'd the swords come from? And should he really be able to use them to the extent that he's using them?
Right. Yeah, I would totally buy into like fake sword made of like flesh but looks like metal, like deception kind of deal. But like, well, I mean, like he's like, or made of energy, or like if he like that's the power. But whatever.
So that was a thing. Like it said like if he turned his claws, like if he popped his claws like he was Wolverine, they wouldn't be to the adamantium level.
Right.
The more brittle or more fragile, but he can still make them.
Okay. So I guess that shows that he can make metal.
We're in this weird zone of like, how do we address his powers? What do we do with them? Like, what can we do with them? What can't we do with them?
Yeah, we're pushing the limit of my suspension of disbelief with the sword. So, my letter to the team is stop making him characters with swords. You have plenty of options. Maybe just that's a little immersion breaking for me, but
yeah.
So we're kind of going into rewatchability. A lot happened in this episode. Definitely. I mean, you've already rewatched it, so that kind of answers that question.
And I'm rewatching it right now.
I think it's a great one. I think if you're going to rewatch one of them to try to like catch things, this might be the one to do.
There was so much going on. Yeah, you need to kind of pause it and be like, oh, okay, let me see what's happening here, or at least rewind it.
For sure. And I really liked what they're kicking off with, introducing Forge, the Artificer, by any means. Shout out to D&D players.
If you don't know what that means, go over to Funky Games and watch Funky Quest, where Steven plays an artificer.
Yes.
A turtle artificer.
Tortle. Come on now.
A tortle, sorry.
Completely different thing. No, so that's we're really doing a great job with like alluding to like, okay, now we're going to get a Storm arc. Maybe they're going to work on getting some semblance of her powers back. Forge is, I can't exactly remember what his storyline within Uncanny is, but he is basically a techno guy.
His powers that he's super technology. He can figure out how to build and craft stuff.
Yeah.
But he was one of those characters that showed up later in my readings, so he was there, but I didn't really kind of grab onto him or gravitate to him and figure out what he was all about. He was just like, oh, there's Forge. Okay, we moved on. So I don't remember what he
but
really
he is the character that would be able to reverse the tech to undo the reversing of reverse with the beam thing, with the tech.
Uno reverse.
Yeah. Basically, he's going to be no you. So I think that's a good tee up for like them to go on a mission. Like, we've got to get the tech to fix you, and that'll be great to have Storm back. I think that's basically assuring that she's coming back, which I like. It's a good character.
Yeah. I don't like that main mutants or main X-Men, just all of a sudden take off, and you're like,
I don't like it when the main characters of my show just take off for no reason. I thought it was a bit.
Yeah, having the main characters that have been those quintessential characters in the group for this long, lose their powers and leave. I'm always like, oh man, come on.
Right.
Storm, she's been around forever.
Right. Well, and she's basically overpowered,
Bobby,
so I can see why kind of like giving her a side quest makes it a little bit more interesting.
I could see a either half an episode or a full episode dedicated just to her and Forge going off and doing their thing.
Yeah. And then
what about Bobby? Did we get Bobby at all back? I don't remember where he left off. He wasn't in the original version of the cartoon, the 5 season run.
I don't know.
Iceman. If you don't know.
Yeah.
I say Bobby like you know who Bobby is.
I do.
You might not. Okay.
Bobby Drake.
Yeah. I mean, Iceman's
No.
one of my favorite characters of all time.
I
so
feel
I'm
like
come
they
on.
will, because they leverage him
And
in
I
the
mean,
movies so much, but I don't know if he's in.
and he was in the First Class, and when they were standing in Professor X's room, they had the painting of First Class, and he was in it.
Yeah, I guess
But
it might
he just
be
kind
a
of
rights issue, because isn't he under Sony still?
no, because he would have been Fox. He would have been with the Fox properties.
Okay.
Because he was in all the X-Men movies that were owned and
Okay.
done by Fox.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll probably get him back because I don't think he's dead.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that'd be awesome if we get
A
some
reunion.
Bobby Drake in here.
Yeah, because Archangel's still around. He's in space though, isn't he? I don't know. He's somewhere. He's doing his thing. Yeah, we've got a lot of inventory of characters to bring on and off at any given time.
True.
I'm just kind of wondering what the next. So let's assume that they do. Well, let's just do predictions because I like being right.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming.
Hit him with the predictions.
So let's just assume Forge, Storm go off, do a quest to get her powers back. They do that. They come back. What's the goals of the X-Men now? Because it's kind of like wait and see if Bishop comes back with a healed baby. His timeline was never repaired, so he's jumping into a future that's kind of mangled. So I guess it's still solving that problem and stopping Sinister from spreading the cybersick.
Technovirus.
Thank you. I like mine better.
That's what it was called. I don't. No, I think it's called Technovirus.
I know it's Technovirus. You're correct.
Oh, okay.
I am wrong.
Okay.
But I don't like being wrong, so I'll just say that cyber sickness is a better term,
Okay.
and Marvel should have gone with that because that's funnier. That's the only
That's
course
where
I can
we're-
see without them just kind of like curveballing, like it's the mole people from Underground, like some random thing.
But I do
Spider-Man.
think the Stormforge thing. Yes, we're gonna see that in its own little thing, and then we'll. I don't even know if we'll because Cable was in the original animated show.
Yeah,
He
he
was.
was.
I read a whole. I
Did
read
they-
up on it because I do remember him being there, but I didn't remember how and why. They never gave his backstory, and apparently, Jean or whoever was that there at the time, which might have been Madeline Pryor, read his mind and seemingly knew potentially that Scott was his father, but never kind of led on to it.
Also scummy on that part, because the name Nathan is Sinister's original name, so Madeline Pryor completely just like basically named their son after her abductor, like creator, like evil person.
Ugh.
So just FYI on that.
And his middle name was also Christopher in the comic book, but they named him Charles. for this.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's cool.
Solid rewrite.
And they also did the when Gambit walked in the room and Rogue and Magneto were standing together, kind of like weirdly melding into each other. That's the cover for the Uncanny X-Men for the Savage
Savage Land.
the Savage Lands. Thank you. That they got together, or one of the times that they got together, which I was like, ooh, good throwback.
Yeah, they've
good,
got a nice. That doesn't belong in this section. That was for the next.
Oh right,
section.
I was supposed
What
to.
are you doing?
I feel we were
script.
wrapping up, so just cramming those things that I wanted to say in there.
That's what the overall section is for, to catch all the things.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. That was an overall that we could put there in that section.
We're figuring it out, ladies and gentlemen.
One of my favorite little parts in this, and it was so quick, when they got the baby in the tube of the ooze or whatever we're calling it, and he's just starts to do his bad guy monologuing soliloquy and just gets blasted in the side of the face. I was like, that I got chuckled out loud. Like, I love those moments where you're like, ooh, this is gonna be nope, and just gets smashed. Cyclops did it too, where he shot Goblin Queen in the face,
Yes.
which I was
It's
like,
fantastic.
oh, Jesus.
Good lord, man.
Yeah, and she just kind of like wiped the blood off her lip and was like, all right, let's dance.
Yeah. Very good overall episode. I think
Yeah.
if I was putting them in order, this is like the top like this is the best one thus far. I think
Thus
across
far,
board.
yes. I'm jonesing for episode 4 now. Like,
Yeah.
this one really got me. This one got me big hyped. Not that the first 2 didn't, but this one was so action packed and so many awesome things happened. When she starts making, messing with everybody's mind, that was absolutely fantastic. Even if it stopped on that, I would be very hyped for the next episode.
Right.
But again, they finished that arc. They finished that story beat out, got her to the end of it, and sent her off, or she sent herself off.
Yeah, she's got.
And so it was like
forge your own way.
Nice wrap up. Not a cliffhanger, other than the Stormforge thing cliffhanger.
Yeah, and I don't see that as a cliffhanger. It's just more like a tee up. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, where the last one left off was her coming back, a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I guess that could be considered a tee up as well, but
yeah, I feel like if they just like blasted Storm and they said like your powers are gone and then cut the episode, then it would be a cliffhanger. But they gave her the send off where she's leaving and that tees up for. I like that better as a storytelling like flow.
Yeah.
Personally, I think there's good uses of cliffhangers, like the Jean clone coming in. Good cliffhanger. Like, what does that mean? That's crazy. Yeah. But like with Forge showing up, it's a little more obvious what's going on there. But maybe I'm just too good.
I am good with this episode, and I may go rewatch it again right now and then have to wait a week for the next one.
Yep. That's what we're here for. We're here to review things and have a combative conversation. Not so combative this time, but sometimes you got to collaborate with your enemies to get the mission accomplished, which is what we're doing here on the channel. So, Nick, give us the lovely sign off.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Head over to Steven's channel, Funky Games. His the way you spell it is on the bottom there, so you can get to it. Also, make sure you go to the Funky store, funky.store, not funky.co, which Dandy Savage likes to put on. But funky.store to get your merch. Get some of that De Niro merch or some I Need Healing merch from the last episode. Other than that, stick around for episode 4, and also come back for Rise of the Beast, a review for Rise of the Beast on the channel very shortly, and you can see what we have to say about that one.
It's not good.
Right.
Spoilers.
It's not good.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thank you again. Later, guys.